broadcasting from the world-famous LWDL studio. This is Life with Dan and Lewis. I'm Dan.
And I'm Lewis.
And we're here to talk about life and all the wonderful, magical, horrible, awful, fantastic stuff inside that four-letter word.
Life.
Before we get too far in, if you hear anything you like today, feel free to go over to buymeacoffee.com/LWDL. Your support is greatly appreciated for this adventure we are on. Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
How was your week?
It was pretty good. You know, it's just the right amount of busy that I needed. The first 2 weeks of the year, pretty much all of January until now, it seemed like everything was just super crazy, super busy, and just out of the ordinary. But this week seemed like everything just flowed perfectly, and it is not back to normal, but at a good place where I like it to be.
Okay.
So it was a pretty good week. No stressing. Just getting there, doing what I got to do, and just keep going.
Nice.
What about you?
My week was incredibly busy. So work has been incredibly busy, like you said, and mine has continued to be so. And then it was compounded this week by it was time for a laptop replacement for me. And that process just it went as smooth as could be. I guess it did take 2 trips downtown on 2 separate days. And the first day it took a little bit long, a couple hours. Then I got home and everything wasn't working right to the point where I was locked out of my computer. So then I couldn't work this morning. So I had no choice but to go back downtown. But it was good because while I was downtown, I did get to do some extra work with some of the offices that I don't get to spend as much one-on-one time with.
Okay.
And it was good. So good things at work. And you know what? When it's busy, it flies by. It's good.
True.
Go ahead.
I guess it's last year in season 1 where she used to start the new year off with no dread. So it seems like it's working for the best for both of us.
Yeah.
Because I didn't dread having these busy work weeks.
No, I actually found myself enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like it kept you super busy, which made the time go by fast. But you knew somewhere in the back of your head that eventually everything will like slow down to a nice, even pace for you.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at. You'll get there at some point.
Yeah. I'm sort of just at like take it as it comes and just get rid of it. Like if I'm going to hold anything, it's just going to be more work later. So just, as it's coming in, I'm just taking it and getting it out, just as much as I can. I'm not even thinking about it. It's sort of like just like drinking from a fire hose and spitting it back out. I don't know. That analogy doesn't really work.
And the funny thing about it is last year, I used to work through my lunch, and I find myself being more productive now when I take an hour out and I can be playing on my phone, watching videos on YouTube, taking a nap, walking around, talking to different people. But I feel like I'm more productive when I'm not working through my lunch than when I am, because now I can pretty much get out 2.5 days worth of dockets in one day, where before I just was working on one.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's something for me, definitely that learning from the pandemic. That the pandemic, everything slowed down.
Yeah.
So we had a lot more time to be deliberate about work sessions and taking breaks and being aware of ourselves.
True.
And I think that's one thing that you can take now that we're back to busy.
Yeah.
But it's still important to take those breaks and take care of yourself because that increases your productivity overall.
Exactly.
So yeah, if I'm going to work for 12 hours a day, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I need to make sure I have 2 hours in there where I'm not working. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like I've only worked for 5 hours. You don't get that extra productivity out of working a long day.
Yeah, I find myself just walking around a lot, talking to different people.
Sure.
Or I'll just find myself like sitting at my desk. Sometimes I'll put my feet up on my desk and I might doze off. Like one day this week, I told Jessica, I was like, you know what? Because I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to start back working. Mm-hmm. And I was only like maybe 10 minutes into my break. And so I told one of the clerks in my office, I was like, I'm going to close my door. I'm going to take a nap.
Sure.
And I kind of forced myself just to sit there and
take a break
and do nothing. So I put like some soft music on YouTube playing in the background. I close my blinds and I just, for the most part, I always say for like about 30 minutes, I just sat there and with my eyes closed and just trying to imagine and just do nothing.
Sure.
And then like eventually I did doze off, but it was just like the 10 minutes I did was just like gave me the extra boost that like when I did wake up, I just went back to being productive. And so it's something that I've been working on since the beginning of the year, and it actually makes me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Big fan of the midday break and, periodic breaks throughout the day, sort of work sessions. I like that. I don't prescribe it to the, I just lost the term. Pomodoro method, like where you like set a timer for 20 minutes and you work and then you take a 5-minute break and set another time. I don't get that, anal about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the idea of, okay, I have 3 things. I'm going to work on one thing, then I'm going to go do this other thing that's different kind of work or not work.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to get, this report analyzed, get my results put together. But before I put it in the PowerPoint, I'm going to take a break and check my email.
Yeah.
Clear out my email box. Okay, now go back, put it back together. And then I find that when you set a schedule of your tasks, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take a break and switch to this gear, then come back and do this, and then switch to this gear. It makes things flow better and you get more productivity out of your day.
That's true. And I remember before I'll work through lunch and I'm like, okay, well, 1 o'clock is coming. Like I need to get this out. I need to do this. I need to do that. Now it's just like, I look at the time. It's like, oh, it's 1:15. Oh, I'm selling my break, so I don't care, And then it's like when I go back to work, I'm so productive.
Like a refreshed and rejuvenated.
That when I look at the time, I'm like, man, it's 4 o'clock and I have all my tasks that I want to do done and my email's cleared out. So like, okay, now what do I do?
Right.
So it's just, it's having that set aside time to where you just sit back and just do nothing, playing your phone, watch a video, just do nothing. Take a nap, go work out, do something that you need for yourself.
Agreed.
That's not work related will give you that extra boost of energy and cause you to be more productive. And, I'm loving it.
Yep. So I guess that's a long discussion about how our week was about work, and work's good.
Yeah. I
got to golf this week.
Nice. How did that go? How's your elbow?
So, I went into golf. This is the first time I've golfed in a little over 6 weeks. And all I did was go to the range and hit a bucket of balls. Nothing crazy. More worried about my back than anything else.
Okay.
My back feels fine. My elbow is having a problem. So it feels okay today, but it was causing me problems at the range. Okay. I was having pain that was causing me to affect my swing. So hopefully, it feels a lot better since that was really the first time I've worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Since the back injury back in November, early October. And so yeah, it was painful during it, but the pain is less after than it was before.
Okay.
So I think, whatever I'm doing, it's helping. I'm just going to keep working on it, and I might go hit a bucket of balls this weekend. I got, busy weekend plans. We'll get to those at the end of the show, but see if we can't squeeze some golf in there and see if things keep feeling good.
Maybe the extra physical activity is actually putting what needs to be put in place back.
Yeah.
And, getting it back to some normal.
Before I strained my hip flexor or my psoas back in October, I've always sort of had lower back issues, but it always felt better when I was consistently golfing.
Okay.
When I was golfing once or twice a week, it felt better because there was constant movement and it wasn't getting stiff. And I was stretching and I was being careful and, and warming up. And so just like working out does generally feel good to my back.
Nice.
But the injury, the pulled hip flexor or psoas, it's a back injury, but it actually affects, it's pain at my, like where abdomen meets groin meets hip.
Okay.
And it's the muscle that connects that area through your body to your lower back. And I pulled that hip flexor on the front side, which causes inflammation on that whole thing, and then it causes your whole back to get twisted up, and it just takes a long time to heal because it's not like an elbow where you can stretch it and massage it. You can't get at that muscle right. Yeah. So it just takes 6 to 8 weeks is the average recovery time on an injury like that. And mine is actually the most painful. It's been probably 2 weeks ago. So towards the end of that recovery is when it started to be the most painful in the process. But yeah, I've been stretching and I didn't go at it as hard as I could at the driving range. I'm going to be honest. I didn't use the driver or any of the woods. I just hit irons, and I was very careful about at the moment of power when you're really twisting is when I heard it, and I was very careful that I wasn't going to push it. So maybe next time I'll break the driver out and do a little bit of gentle driving. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm happy that I was able to enjoy it and relatively pain free.
Yeah, but that's always a plus.
Which, because golf is something I've enjoyed for a while now. So
Yeah.
it was getting on my nerves not to be able to do it anymore.
Yeah,
So,
and it would suck that if something that brings you joy
right, and then I have to
peacefulness,
stop. Right,
you have to, one, either stop, or two, either play through the pain. So it's like good thing that
right,
everything's working out and you can get back to enjoying it and having fun with it.
definitely. Yeah. Other than that, this week, bowling started again.
Nice.
It's gonna be a fun group. The bowling alley has they have some new technology. I didn't even know this was possible in bowling. New technology in bowling. So they're almost done at the alley. There's about 10 lanes left. They're replacing all the pins and the stuff at the end of the alley with new equipment, and the pins are now on strings.
Nice.
I'm not so sure about it.
Why not?
It's different. It's way quieter. You don't hear things as much. And initially, just from watching a few hours of bowling, it seems like there's less pin action. So for a younger guy, typically, that throws a ball very fast, and the pins are flying all over the place, you just don't see that as much.
Okay.
And we were talking, and we were speculating that the pins are made out of something different because they're just not as explosive and reactive.
Okay.
When they tumble around. So the scores didn't look that crazy. So I don't know if it affected scoring at all, but it just seems like there's less pin action. But it's technology. Ultimately the goal here is less flying wood objects because there's less maintenance involved in them when they're not flying all over the place, and it's less equipment to set the pins up and down again because it just pulls them up and sets them down. So it's supposed to be lower maintenance cost and just better for the alley overall. So we'll see.
One of these days, I will go with you. Or do you need an assistant or an assistant? I'll go with you because I want to see that firsthand to see if I've seen it on like YouTube videos and stuff, and it looks cool. But I actually want to see it in person to get like the true perspective about it.
So it's been a trend in like those like pub style bowling places, for a while. But I bowl, or my bowling league it used to be an AMF. It's a Bolero. Okay. So it's sort of AMF's take on a pub style bowling, but it's a full bowling alley, a full 50, 60 lanes. So I think this is the first time I've seen it in what I would call a traditional bowling alley. Although this is one of those like sort of, new trendy bowling alleys in a way. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm going to look online. I don't think like professional bowlers are using this kind of system yet.
I will gather not.
Right. So I don't know if this is like, Bolero moving one step away from professional bowlers, which if Bolero, which is AMF, there aren't regular AMF lanes around here anymore. They're either Bowlmore or Boleros.
Yeah.
If AMF is out of the bowling game now, that really leaves mom and pop shops.
True.
As the only ones that have traditional lanes anymore.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
In a way.
Or maybe not. Maybe just, times are changing.
Maybe it's just a sign of the time.
Right.
It's just,
I don't know, like do Main Event and what's the competitor for that? Dave and Buster's? Are their bowling alleys regular still? I don't know. I guess that's something we could look at.
I want to say yes. I want to say that they're still regular. I don't think that they have switched over to anything different.
Interesting. Anyways, so bowling started up again this week. I have a good group of people, lots of returners, and quite a few first timers too.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun group. There's the first night you can sort of get a good vibe, and this one's good.
Nice.
Last season, this season good. So
good.
That's going to be fun. So that'll be going on for the next few weeks or so. 6 weeks actually.
Nice.
Hey, what's in your cup tonight?
Well, we have to bring out the old
standby.
The old standby, the old favorite.
That's right. We're both drinking
some good old Fireball.
That's right, Fireball. So Fireball's actually in the news. They're getting sued again.
For what?
Because those minis that they sell, it still says Fireball whiskey on them, but it's not whiskey.
Oh, dear heavens.
Yeah. So it doesn't fit the legal requirement to a whiskey. It's a Fireball malt beverage. So they're being the FDA era ATF. Alcohol, tobacco. I don't know. One of the government agencies is getting on them again about
ATF.
I guess it must be right.
Yeah.
Is getting on them again about labeling things the way they should be and not marketing their minis as whiskey.
I mean,
which we were onto that here because the grocery store sells them here.
Yeah.
And our grocery stores can't sell liquor.
Yeah.
They can only sell malt beverage and beer and wine.
I even started to see them at like Valero's and gas stations and stuff. I mean, come on, people, like, whatever. I mean, if you're gonna buy it, you're gonna buy it. If you're not, you're not. So
I will say I'm not a fan. The malt beverage does not taste like their whiskey. It's similar. I think it burns more, and it just I don't know, more aggressive.
It is very much so more aggressive because I have tried it. It is very much so more aggressive. I can drink Fireball straight on the rocks, and it's perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. You get that little bit of burn, but it's not much. It's not overpowering.
Right.
But the malt one, don't get me wrong, I'll still drink it.
But it's strong.
But it is stronger, and burnier is not a word, but it burns a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, so needless to say, we're drinking the whiskey version of that tonight.
I concur. It's always if Fireball lovers, I love to drink Fireball like on a nice cool cold night and sitting out by a fire. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a nice good sitting around the fire, talking to your friends and having good conversation.
Agreed. Before we tell you about our friends, we'd like to ask you to be our friend too. Life with Dan and Lewis is actively looking for new friends, new brands, new podcasts, people, and companies to partner with. If you're interested, drop us a note at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Remote working? Remoting. Follow along on a journey of a new job, a new facility, new coworkers, and a new normal. Remote working. Remoting. Inspired by real life, enhanced by imagination. Follow along at remotingblog.com.
Remoting blog.
Eating gluten and dairy-free can be challenging. GFDF Eating aims to show all the delicious food you can make and buy without sacrificing taste, diversity, or quality. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at GFDF Eating.
That's GFDF Eating.
We'd like to hear from you. After all, we are doing this for your entertainment. Drop us a note and let us know where you're listening from. Or if you have any ideas for new segments, things you'd like us to stop doing, do more of, less of, or anything at all, email us at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com. This week in our online dating segment, we found a few articles about online dating apps for platonic friendships, how Tinder killed modern romance, and the pros and cons of online dating. This all ties into our new season 2 of our podcast, and we talk about online dating versus traditional in-person dating.
Yeah.
And we want to really get more into it and just see how people feel about it and just overall, what's the overall people's take on it. And
part of our season 2 goals here is to talk more about both online dating and online working, basically technology and how it's changed some of the human interactions.
Yeah, definitely.
Dating is one of our big focuses this season.
Yeah, and I definitely think we both definitely think that technology has really played into making or breaking friendships, relationships, and stuff like that. Just by people being tech savvy, I guess. Yeah. But it's interesting. We found a few articles, and we'll just kick it off here.
Yeah. So this first one's published on CNBC just a few days ago, and it's titled "How Gen Zers Are Turning to Dating Apps Like Bumble for Platonic Friendships." And the reason I pulled this article is it has some stats in it that are going to tie it together sort of for thematically over this discussion we have. So the first one is studies have shown that 39% of straight couples have met online, and over half of LGBTQ couples have met online. So that fact's going to come back up, I think, in a later discussion we have about the difference between straight dating and LGBTQ dating.
Yeah, in our pros and cons.
Yeah,
that's definitely those statistics there are definitely
right.
Pretty interesting.
Right. So the logical step this article makes is that it's also logical that if you're finding romantic relationships that way, that you could be finding friends that way too. And this article specifically focuses on some stats around Bumble, since it's the best known app that does both relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
So Bumble is a $1 billion company, but only $1 million of that comes from their friendship part.
Wow.
So it's a very small percentage of their overall.
I'm interested to see if only 1 million of that comes from their overall revenue from the friendship side. I'm interested to see in the next 2 5,
see the growth. Yeah,
to see the growth, because if you think about it, how often do we go out just looking to make new friends? I mean, we have friends within our groups, and we tend to stick to our close best friends, but how often do we go out to meet new friends?
Yeah,
and it's what if you want to make a friend in some other part of the world,
right?
And you guys say, hey, like once a week we're gonna.
So that's a huge argument, or a huge portion of why people use Bumble BFF or Biz. Is that you're in a new city, whether you're traveling for work or you just moved there, and you need to meet people. That's exactly what you just said. Yeah.
So I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So it's interesting, their revenue is expected to be over $1 billion this year, and only $1 million coming from Bumble BFF and Biz. However, 15% of Bumble users also use the BFF or Biz. So a much greater user base percentage-wise than what the revenue is coming from. So I think that's a sign that this is an emerging market still.
True. That's definitely interesting. Looking for new friends? Turn to Bumble.
Yeah. Or at least give it a shot. You never know what you might find.
Yeah.
This next article I found talks about modern romance is dead and Tinder killed it. And initially you're thinking, what? That doesn't make any sense. Tinder is modern romance. And there's some interesting statistics here. And it starts off by laying out that the number of Americans who do not have a steady romantic partner has increased 50% since 1986. So way more people today than in 1986 do not have a steady romantic partner. So you think, okay, online dating should be helping people find partners, but should it? So the ultimate goal of online dating, logically, is a conduit for creating committed relationships. That's actually a fallacy. Online dating is a multi-billion-dollar industry, an industry that profits primarily off of user addiction, especially by keeping its users single. The way that the industry accomplishes this is twofold, relying on qualities of gamifications and what the psychologist, his name is Barry Schwartz, refers to as the paradox of choice. And this can all be found in an article published over in the Michigan Daily, and we'll link this in our descriptions.
You know what? I as you said that, I can identify and agree with it, because, how often do you meet somebody on like a dating website, and then like you meet in person, and then you're just like, this is not.
That's exactly what this article gets to. So listen to this. The presence of choice paradox in an online dating relationship is perhaps best understood through an analogy of online shopping. Studies have shown that as shoppers are exposed to more options for potential purchases, they are paradoxically less likely to be satisfied with their ultimate decision.
Yep.
As our brains become inundated with a variety of choices, we experience choice paralysis, an anxiety-induced state that prevents us from making a resounding decision.
Interesting.
On Tinder, the user experience of choice overload has become a frequent occurrence in the emergence of what some are calling serial swipers. Many users can be seen displaying strong hesitation to commit to a singular option due to fear of missing out on a potentially better one. The catch here is, though, that we're not shopping, we're looking for partners. And it's people, not handbags or books or clothes.
But how often do people? Matter of fact, funny that this is going to tie into our podcast for today. I was on my way to work today, and I listened to the second date update where on the radio where a guy calls and he was just like, "Well, I haven't heard back from the girl that he went on a date with. They met online, and then he was also while he was talking to her online, and he was also talking to 3 other girls, and one of them happened to be her best friend, which ultimately told her that, hey, I'm talking to the same guy that you're talking to, and then then that, which is what caused her not to call him again. But what he said was, until I find the right one, well, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket.
Which was not an option prior to online dating.
Exactly. Because prior to online...
You have way more, in that analogy, you have way more eggs to look at to put in your basket.
Yeah. Because with online, it's just like, if he went out with that girl in his mind, she was the one, he doesn't ever have to say anything to any of the other ones.
It's the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Without online dating, the barrier to entry to get to a point where you're going out on a date is much higher.
Exactly.
With online dating, the barrier to entry is very, very low. It's easy to have multiple online relationships compared to in-person relationships. So, even when you're going out with multiple people, just making that initial connection is easier.
Yeah.
And I really do believe there's this fear of missing out.
So ultimately what his idea was, if he went out with girl A and it didn't work out, he'll move on to girl B. If it didn't work out with girl B, then he'll move on to girl C, and then so on and so on. So in the end, he says, well, it didn't work out with her. I'm going to hit up her friend now.
Interesting.
So, online dating, it's just like, okay, it didn't work out for one, which is the intent.
So it just makes me wonder, so are relationships that do end up long-term from online dating, are they a higher quality? Because you've had more options, so you picked a better option than if you would have not had all these options in front of you?
I think it makes it easier to play the field and find the right one.
Okay.
Because, just imagine, like, if you meet up with somebody in person and then, you go out and then like 5 minutes until you're just like, yeah, this is going to be horrible. But you have to go out because maybe you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, or maybe they're feeling you more than you're feeling them. And then in the end, just like, okay, well, bye. And then like your bye in your head is like, bye, I'll never see you again. But with online, it's just like, well, okay, after, our attention spans only last for so long. So if they don't catch your attention after maybe a week or so, I'll be like, okay, well, this is not, working out. It's like that text message that you intend to send, but like, 2 years later, like, I meant to text you and never did. So it's just like, it's kind of like the same thing. If you don't like the person, if they don't keep your attention, then you just drop and move off to somebody else.
Right. So we've been talking about the people side of things here in online dating. This article also points out that there's an author, Natasha Dow Scholl. She wrote a book called Addiction by Design. And she talks about how these app developers are building in addictive gamification qualities to get people to keep using their apps. The infinite scrolling, the trying to match with someone, all that kind of stuff. It's sort of like gambling in an app.
Yeah.
It makes it gives you a psychological addiction to it.
I'm almost interested in to sign up on it and just to see how the different tactics that they have created and applied into these apps, how it keeps you on and wanting to keep.
So that's a great segue. So this article points out the instant gratification offered by each match causes the idea of exclusivity to appear unsettling, with many individuals remaining addicted to these apps even after they are in committed relationships. So they're not in it to find their relationship, they're in it for the addictive nature of the app and to quote unquote match with someone. Specifically, 30% of Tinder users are married and another 12% are in relationships. So 42% of people on Tinder are in relationships.
It also, on the second day update on the radio station that I listened to, they also had a person on there where the guy found on his wife's phone a dating app. And she ultimately said that she's just addicted to it. Like, she'll talk to somebody, she'll just say hi, and then, she'll end it and she'll be like, I'm married, I just got on here just for fun.
See, that plays right into this. Users find themselves immersed in an endless, twisted game where matches and hookups function as points to keep score.
So
Interesting.
It's fun in games for both single and people who are in relationships, dating, married, committed,
Right.
Whatever the case may be. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So that article's interesting, and it ends with the comment. Is this the end of dating? Are we in the apocalypse? And the conclusion is, we'll see.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. We don't know. Dating is, humans are constantly evolving in the way we interact with each other, and online dating is just the current frontier of that evolution.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we used to, well, not we, but like, people used to always say like, kids are being raised by, electronics, and you sit them in front of a TV, or put a gaming system in front of them. But now it's just like adults are being, hooked, or finding ways to hook up and to, start relationships and maybe start a family with somebody by being electronic in your hand or a computer at your, at your desk, so it's just funny how, 3 years ago, online dating was frowned upon a little bit, like, oh, you met online, and and in today's world, in-person dating, like, oh, we went out, I met this person at a bar, is kind of frowned upon because nobody really does that anymore.
Right.
So it's just funny how during the sake of time things have changed.
Yeah. Hey, so our final article today has 3 pros and cons about online dating. So I thought we'd just read through these and see what we feel about them.
Yeah.
I think most of them we brought up before. So the first pro here is that your dating pool significantly grows. So that's exactly what we were talking about. We got more eggs to put in our basket.
True. And I think with I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I think it ties into our next pro, but it does broaden the pool that you have.
But with that same broadening, you have the con that fits right with that, is that you have to filter more people out.
Yeah. And necessarily, I don't think that's for me, I wouldn't say that's a con.
I almost think it's a pro too.
I do also.
Because it almost gives you a chance to sort of hone your skills in filtering.
Yeah.
Because you might think, oh, okay, I'll check out this person. And you might chat with them, some go, oh no, I shouldn't have. My instincts are right. I should have.
Yeah. Because I don't think anybody that you're going to find, and that's within person too, is going to be 100% of what you want, but you can get damn near close after you start filtering people out.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, this next pro I thought was really interesting.
Dating apps are particularly helpful to find love in the LGBTQ community.
Now, at first, when you said that one to me earlier tonight, I thought, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then in thinking it out just a little bit, it does, because that's something that without everyone in the room being committed to that relationship style, that relationship type, there's no other way to know who is in your group.
Yeah.
So you could be in a bar, and unless it's a gay bar where everyone is there is gay, you don't know who is gay or not. But with online dating, the sites are specifically designed for that, or you put your orientation on it.
Yeah.
So it allows you to instantly narrow your pool to just people who are looking for the same thing that you are.
Correct.
In a way that in-person social interactions aren't equal or aren't easily non-awkwardly able to do.
Correct. Because I know some straight people who go to gay bars.
Sure.
And, I think that like this pro really does help out because,
even in a setting where you think that everyone's in the same group, they might not be.
Yeah. And so it's like now it eliminates the awkwardness.
Yeah.
It eliminates you approaching somebody that you think, but is not. And then so the dissatisfaction from that, whether it turns out to be negative or whatnot, is eliminated because, and then also I think it will cut down a lot of harassment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, you're part of that community. Like, why are you talking to me? It's just like, so you get exactly what you want and you're finding what you want and you're going from there.
Yeah. I think that same thing could be applied for like people that are looking for a match within their religion. So like JDate comes to mind.
Yeah.
That's another one where you can't necessarily easily in a social setting with a large group, figure out who might be in that group.
Correct.
without flat out asking them, which can be socially awkward depending on the situation you're in. Whereas if you all are just going to the same website, then you sort of taken that initial qualifier off the table.
Yeah, because asking sometimes can be looked at as being offensive.
Sure, and even if you're not asking to be offensive, the person might not want to say for a variety of reasons.
Why not? I mean, why they don't?
Why they either are or are not part of the group that you are asking them if they're in.
Correct.
Whether it be a religion, an orientation, whatever is important to you. Maybe you only want to date bocce players. That's going to be awkward. Hey, do you play with bocce balls?
Right.
It's going to be an awkward question to have to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
No innuendo meant there. I was legitimately talking about bocce balls. Moving on. So the next con is you may experience interaction you'd really rather you didn't have. And, this one I actually think is more of a con of dating in person. And I think this one's easier to, nip in the bud with online dating.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so too. Like when it says, the unsolicited photos. And
I just got down to that part and I was like,
behavior and stuff like other stuff like that that you may come across. Like, it's, I think in person, well, I think more so online, it's just like, people have that not seeing somebody in person and not caring, like, hey,
the anonymity of sitting behind a computer screen.
Yeah. So it's like, if I want to, send them a picture of my genitals and if they don't like it and they make fun of it, it's just like, oh, well, I'll never fucking see them again. So like, why not?
Yeah. But guys, no unsolicited dick pics. Stop.
Exactly. Don't do that. Don't send those to women.
That gives everyone a bad name online.
I've known some women that will take dick pics and post them around and everybody make fun of them.
Very true.
Please don't do that.
I've never heard a good dick pic story.
No.
Like where it was like, hey, this guy just randomly sent me his dick pic and now we're married. If anyone has one of those, I would love to hear about it.
I know a lot of women do not like it, and they
golden dick there.
They blast you on social media.
That's the truth.
Pro, you're more likely to find a romantic partner online than anywhere else.
Interesting.
And let's see. This goes for.
So I think really their point here is that it's hard to meet people.
Yeah.
So why not try online? That's a weak pro. Let's move on.
I mean, it is a weak pro, but I feel that like I guess is the sitting behind a computer screen or app is gives you that confidence to talk to people that you normally wouldn't talk to in person.
Oh, that's true.
And so and I think that like they say the geeky guy or geeky girl wants to go out with the popular or girl and guy or you never see that it can happen, but online where if it doesn't happen and you get shot down, it's less hurtful and less painful than if
that's true.
It happened in person.
So like shoot your shot.
Yeah, exactly. And if I shoot my shot online and it doesn't happen, oh well, screw it. I just move on to the next person.
Right. There's no risk of public humiliation, or there's a significantly greatly reduced risk of public humiliation, or having to sit around awkwardly the rest of the night or whatever.
Yeah,
that's true.
And the last con that we have for online dating is lying on dating apps can happen.
So I think this is true for dating in general, because I personally know of speed dating stories where people have said to be one thing and then you start dating this person and down the road they're something completely different.
Yeah.
So, and speed dating just comes to mind because I know a few personal stories. Not personal as in happened to me, but personal that they were told to me. Stories. So I call it speed dating, not just because that's the only place that this could happen, but because I've heard stories specifically about speed dating and how people, both male and female, about men and women that have lied. And it's almost the same fashion that you would lie to someone online. You have this anonymity, and because in speed dating, the anonymity is the speed, right? Yeah. You're only with someone for a little bit of time, so you can lie your ass off and you can get out of it. Unless you end up liking that person and keep going, then you have to keep that lie going or fess up. And I've heard it happen both ways.
Yeah.
Same with online dating. I've heard people that greatly exaggerate online anything, and then they start liking the person and they fess up right away. Hey, my online profile, I said I was 6'5", I'm only 5'11".
Yeah.
And they just fess up right away. It's their game. It's a game. They peacock it up, and then when they get out in public, they explain themselves and
Yeah, and see what it goes
and it
from
either
there.
works or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I've also heard the opposite, where their online profile is, completely exaggerated, and online they're one person.
And in person, they're completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean...
but humans lie.
Yeah.
It's not exclusive to online dating, I guess is my point there.
Yeah, true. It's going to happen more so for the person who's telling the lie is to protect themselves from whatever the issue is that they're trying to protect. So, it's just something you just have to go with.
Yeah.
So, but those are very interesting, and the articles that we found are really our eye openers. And we'd like to hear from you guys. Like, tell us, your stories, like we were talking about relationship or online versus in-person dating. And how do you feel if you found somebody and you're dating somebody online, no matter what sexual orientation, race, gender, religion, whatever it is, how did you guys meet? How did it turn out? I heard a story of a guy that was of the Muslim faith and a girl that wasn't. And his parents had already picked out somebody for him.
Oh.
But he told his parents, okay, well, I'm not going to abide by your rules. I found somebody that I love. We met online. We've been dating for the last 6 months. We have been out on countless dates together. I fell in love with this girl, and this is the one that I want to marry. So tell us your online dating story, or if you met in person, tell us your story about that too. We want to hear more about online versus in-person dating.
Yeah, and just in general, how people are meeting.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Post-COVID, let us know.
Yeah,
if you have this wonderful match made in heaven COVID story of how you guys met online and worked it out through COVID and wound up in a long-term relationship. Let us know. So we can, potentially get you guys on here and so you can tell your story.
All right. That online dating segment took a little bit longer than I realized. So we have some other articles on the gig economy in 2023 and what working in this crazy world we live in looks like. But we'll get back to those next week.
Sounds good.
Hey, until then, anything coming up for you this week?
Tomorrow I am doing a beer study. Over at the mall, and one of my friends told me about it, and I get paid $55 to do a beer study.
Is this literally you get paid to drink beer?
Yes. So they're gonna give me a certain...
Is this for legal research?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the beer company, but they're bringing out new flavors and they want to see how the public reacts to them.
Got it. Okay. So this isn't DWI research. This is market research.
Correct.
Got it. Well, that's fun. I'm excited to hear more about that.
Yeah.
If not on here, then as soon as we turn off this recording.
Yeah, definitely. What about you?
Hey, this weekend I sold a bunch of tools from the garage that I haven't used in the year since I've been in this house. Got rid of a bunch of wood out there, all for the purpose of getting my car in the garage.
Nice.
So number one mission tomorrow, get the car in the garage.
Nice.
So I got to move some stuff around, move a shelf down, move a fridge around. Maybe we'll play a little Tetris, and we'll get that car in there. Then I'm going to get my Christmas decorations. Yes, that's right. I still have my Christmas decorations up. Get my Christmas decorations inside, put away, and run some errands, do a little bit of shopping at some stores, and hopefully get some golf in somewhere along there as well.
Nice.
Gonna keep it busy this weekend, that's for sure.
There you go. All right, well, that's a wrap for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. So please send us your comments, keep in touch with us, let us know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll go from there.
That's right. Until next time, check us out on all the social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Life with Dan and Lewis. Also on YouTube at Life with Dan and Lewis.
That's at Life with Dan and Lewis.
Thanks for listening today. More episodes can be found anywhere podcasts are found or on our website at lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
That's lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, remember to ask yourself, what have you done today to help someone make good choices?
And love one another.